When was your life ruined overnight? In 2017, my wife falsely had me arrested for domestic abuse. A month earlier, she had already threatened to do so, which terrified me. The next day, I took off work, went to court, and tried to get a restraining order against her and possibly have her removed from our home. The judge refused. He said that since my wife hadn't physically threatened me, he had no grounds to issue the order. However, he offered a no-abuse order, preventing her from threatening me again. I explained that this wouldn't protect me from false accusations and would only make things worse. Still, the judge said he was already writing the order and would give it to me anyway. He wished me good luck and a good day. A court advocate who helped me with the paperwork told me, "Ricardo, I think the court really let you down today, and I'm sorry it turned out this way." I replied, "Yes, the court really let me down, and I guarantee you that within a few months, my wife will have me thrown in jail." She responded, "I really hope that doesn't happen. Good luck, Ricardo." And the no-abuse order indeed made everything worse. The atmosphere at home became unbearable and hostile. We grew to hate each other, but I refused to leave my own house. As I predicted, about a month later, she had me arrested. We had a nasty argument that night, exchanged harsh words, and she left to go to a friend's apartment across the hall. I thought it was over. 10 minutes later, a police car pulled up with flashing lights. I immediately knew she had called the police, but deep down, I didn't believe she would be cruel enough to have me arrested, especially since I had always treated her well. I was wrong. 2 officers came in and asked what was going on. I said nothing was happening, and I didn't know why they were there. They asked if there had been a fight between me and my wife. I said it was just a verbal argument. I asked if it was a noise complaint. They ignored the question and asked where my wife was. I told them she was probably across the hall at her friend's. They told me to stay put while they went to speak with her. I waited. They stayed there for 20 minutes. At that moment, I knew she must have been making up some ridiculous story, because it doesn't take that long to tell 2 officers that it was just an argument. When they came back, they told me to stand up and put my hands behind my back. I was being arrested for domestic violence. I asked, "What violence?" "It was just a verbal argument." They replied, "She's saying otherwise." I asked what she claimed, but they ignored me. They handcuffed me and took me to the police station. I found out the next day that she told them I grabbed her by the hair and threw her to the floor. That was a complete lie. I have never hit or treated a woman that way. Never. I spent 18 days in jail. I had just gotten paid that night and had $800 in cash on me. But bail was set at $1,500 due to a DUI from 16 years ago and another minor charge. Since domestic violence is taken very seriously here in Massachusetts, I knew I could get the bail reduced. I did, but I had to wait 18 days to appear before a judge, who lowered the bail to $500. I paid it and was released. Of course, my wife immediately requested a restraining order, which was granted for 1 year. When I got out of jail, I was basically homeless. She also did an excellent job portraying me as an evil monster and claiming she was so afraid for her life that the court only granted my release on the condition that I wear an electronic ankle bracelet to monitor my movements and ensure I stayed away from my own home and my wife. My friends did everything they could to help me, but the winter of 2017 and 2018 was the worst period of my life. I had to charge the ankle bracelet every night for 2 hours. Half the time, I didn't even know where I would be sleeping that night. And because my 2 best friends lived very close to where my wife and I had lived, I couldn't stay with them for fear of triggering the ankle monitor. Even though I was more than welcome at both of their homes, I ended up spending several nights at a local homeless shelter, which was only slightly better than prison. Besides the bail, I was forced to spend a fortune on a lawyer, which ended up being pointless because I eventually had to accept a plea deal. Even though there was absolutely no physical evidence that I had assaulted my wife, no photos of bruises, black eyes, or anything remotely like that, my lawyer told me, "Rafael, you have a good case, and I'm ready to go to trial with you. But since I'm here to protect your best interests, I must be honest with you. If your wife gets on the witness stand, lies without hesitation, cries, and pulls out all the stops, this could go very badly for you. If the jury believes her story, you'll be found guilty. And if that happens, I might be able to keep you out of jail, but maybe not. Domestic violence is taken very seriously here in Massachusetts, and you could end up serving 6 months or more if convicted. I'm ready to do whatever you decide, but it might be in your best interest to take the plea deal, avoid jail, and move on from this nightmare. I know you're innocent, but this might be the safest option. What would you have done? As I said, I ended up accepting the plea deal. Jail was so horrific that I wasn't willing to risk going back, even if the chance was only 50%. Who knows what a jury might decide or believe? Now I'm a convicted felon. Besides the $5,000 I paid my lawyer, I had to pay another $2,000 for domestic violence classes. Nonsense I'm forced to sit through every Tuesday night for 2 hours over the next 38 weeks. I'm also doing community service at a local food bank to cover some of my court costs and probation fees. But there are other court fees that can't be worked off through community service and must be paid out of pocket, totaling around $350. In other words, my wife made me homeless, nearly ruined me financially, and permanently damaged my legal reputation. As I write this, she's sitting in the apartment we used to live in, watching my flat-screen TV, sleeping in my king-size bed, and relaxing on my furniture. And for 4 or 5 months, the court forced me to pay the utilities there, and even her cell phone bill. I'm 57 years old and have been through a lot, but this past year has truly been hell. I'm not exaggerating when I say I was very close to giving up and hanging myself. I only survived because of the help of my friends, and I will be forever grateful to them. Many times they went above and beyond for me. Now I'm in a new apartment, which is a dump, but I'm grateful to have it. My landlord promised to move me soon to a better unit in a nicer building across the street. My wife tried to destroy me, but she failed because I'm still here, still alive, and I've managed to pick up the pieces, but at a huge physical, mental, emotional, and financial cost. My credit is ruined. My hair has turned gray. I lost 30 pounds over this past year and nearly developed an ulcer. I felt horribly sick for months, constantly nauseous and sometimes vomiting. My car was repossessed, and now I rely on public transportation for everything. I won't even get into how much of an evil person my wife is, but I've often asked myself, how does she sleep at night? How does she live with what she's done to me, knowing she had me imprisoned on a false charge? That's when I thought of Marcella, the neighbor, my ex-wife's closest friend, maybe the only person she still kept in constant contact with. Marcella had been around during much of the chaos, and even if she didn't know everything, maybe she knew more than she let on. She could be the missing piece to dismantle this whole lie. But there was a problem. I couldn't go near her. The restraining order prevented me from even stepping foot near the building. My only option was to try contacting her from a distance. I grabbed my phone, and after staring at the screen for a few minutes, I typed a message. Marcella, please listen to me. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I'm desperate. She destroyed my life. You saw it all up close. I just need a chance to talk to you. Just hear my side. Nothing more. I stared at the screen, waiting. Minutes felt like hours. Then, finally, a notification popped up. Marcella is typing. Raphael, I don't know if I should get involved in this, but all of this feels wrong. What do you want to talk about? My heart raced. There was a chance. Please meet me in a public place. I don't want any trouble. I just need to talk. Please give me this chance. She took a while to answer. The anxiety was eating me alive, and then came the reply. Fine. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. at the diner on the corner. Don't make me regret this. The next day, I left home with my stomach in knots. The ankle monitor squeezed my leg like a constant reminder that I was still trapped in this nightmare. But this conversation was my only chance. The diner was almost empty when I arrived. Marcella was already there, sitting in a corner, absent-mindedly scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I approached. I still can't believe I'm here, she said, crossing her arms. Neither can I, but thank you for coming. I sat down in front of her and took a deep breath. I needed to be honest. Marcella, I've lost everything. She destroyed my life. She had me arrested for something I never did. And now I'm stuck, unable to fight back. You know something's wrong. I just need a chance to prove she lied. She stared at me in silence, her expression unreadable. And what do you expect me to do? I know you two still talk. I just need you to listen, pay attention, If she says something strange, anything that could prove she lied, record it. You don't need to confront her. Just record it. Marcella hesitated. You want me to risk myself for you? It's not just for me. It's for justice. And for you too. If this continues, you could get dragged into it without even realizing. She's already destroyed my life. Don't let her do the same to you. Marcella sighed and looked away. I'll think about it. But don't ask me for anything more than that. That was enough. A small opening. That's more than I could have hoped for. Thank you. She grabbed her purse and stood up. If I find out anything, I'll let you know. But don't expect miracles. And with that, she left, leaving me there, sitting with a sliver of hope. Now all I could do was wait. I knew that sooner or later, my ex-wife would make a mistake. And when she did, I'd be ready. Months passed slowly, each day heavier than the last. Life dragged on, as if time itself had decided to punish me too. I had long since stopped counting the weeks since I last spoke to Marcella. The hope that she could help me had dissolved, along with any desire to fight. I was surviving. Nothing more. My ex-wife continued to live comfortably in the apartment I was still forced to pay for. The electricity, water, internet, and even her cell phone bills kept draining my bank account. The electronic ankle bracelet clinging to my leg was a constant reminder of the invisible prison she had built around me. My friends no longer knew what to say. Their words of support, once frequent, had been replaced by awkward silences and looks of pity. I tried to stick to a routine. I woke up early, did temporary jobs to pay off the mounting debts, and returned to that damp, dark apartment. Sleeping was difficult. Dreaming was impossible. I had accepted that my life would never be the same. Tears no longer came, not even anger, only emptiness. Then, on an ordinary night while I stared at my phone's blank screen, everything changed. A notification popped up. It was a message from Marcella. For a moment, I thought about ignoring it. Reopening old wounds made no sense. But something made me open it. Raphael, don't contact me after this. I did what I could. I just hope this helps. Attached was a video file. My hands trembled as I hit play. The image was shaky, clearly recorded by a hidden phone. I instantly recognized my ex-wife's voice. The setting was familiar. My apartment. Marcella must have discreetly placed the phone in her purse, with the camera subtly peeking out. The recording wasn't perfect, but it was clear enough. Marcella, look, I needed to get rid of Raphael. You know how he was. He was never going to leave the house, never going to leave me alone. So, I did what I had to do. I told the police what they wanted to hear, and that's it. He got arrested. I deserved to keep the apartment after everything I put up with. My ex laughed as she continued. And you really think anyone's going to believe him now? He's finished. The best thing he can do is accept defeat. The tears came before I even realized. But I wasn't crying out of sadness. It was relief, gratitude, the certainty that this nightmare could finally end. Marcella's voice at the end of the video, before it cut off, was cold. Don't involve me in this anymore. It didn't matter. She had done more than enough. More than I could have asked for. With trembling hands, I grabbed my phone and called my lawyer. He answered after a few rings. Raphael? It's late. Did something happen? My voice came out hoarse but firm. I have what we need. A confession. I want to file for divorce now. Full division of assets. And I want my criminal record cleared. There was a brief silence on the other end. Then he responded. Meet me tomorrow. Bring the video. We're going to end this. That night passed slowly, but it was different from all the others. For the first time in a long while, I truly slept. Deeply. I woke up early, grabbed the video, and went straight to my lawyer's office. He watched it in silence, analyzing every detail. This is more than enough. We'll file for divorce with a full division of assets and request the review of your criminal case. On top of that, we can charge her with filing a false police report. That could land her in prison. Everything happened quickly. My lawyer filed the necessary actions. The justice system moved fast, likely influenced by the weight of the evidence. My criminal record was cleared. There was no longer any stain on my name. The divorce was finalized with full division of assets, and the apartment was legally mine again. But the most important part was still to come. My ex-wife was charged with false testimony and procedural fraud. The justice system showed no mercy. She was tried and convicted. The image of her being taken away in handcuffs is forever etched in my memory. Not out of pleasure, but out of justice. Finally, the weight was off my shoulders. Returning to the apartment wasn't easy. Every corner held a ghost of that story. But this time I was alone, free. I started to rebuild everything. Slowly, no rush. I sold some furniture, renovated what I could, gave the place a new life. Marcella never replied to my messages again, and I didn't reach out to her. She did what needed to be done, and for that, I will be eternally grateful. Slowly, I started living again. Not like before, but in a new way. I learned to be cautious, to trust less. But I also learned that no matter how bad things get, there's always a way out. She tried to destroy me, but she failed, and I survived.